On this episode of RVA Podcast, it's a year in review. 2020, crazy years, our last podcast of the year. Get ready.
You're listening to RVA Real Estate Talk with Jared Davis and Galen Parker, your source for an honest, insightful look into Central Virginia's real estate market. Combined, Jared and Galen have over 20 years sales experience, as well as hundreds of testimonials from clients past and present who rely on them for advice and assistance when buying and selling homes in today's incredibly hot and competitive real estate market. And now, your hosts, Jared Davis and Galen Parker.
I'm still Jared Davis.
What are you doing?
I'm Jared Davis.
And I am still Galen Parker. How are you guys doing?
I've been wanting to steal that from you.
I know. I could feel it in the air. You're stealing my ad libs. I tell you what, this must be how Jay-Z feels.
Is it? Okay.
Yep, pretty much.
Pretty much same.
When I was sitting here listening to you, and I went to touch my headset because I thought about my headset from PlayStation, and I was like, "What is this thing?" I'm like, "Oh wait,
adjusting." You're trying to adjust.
Mike's moving my bottle because we're not. They're not official sponsors.
You can just blur
yet.
that out.
Yeah.
If you'd like to sponsor the
I'll drink whatever water you want.
RVA Real Estate Talk podcast, let us know. We're taking sponsorship.
I'll be over here
funds.
thirsty because I can't hydrate.
No, it's been a good year, 2020.
It has been a wild ride. I've enjoyed 2020. A lot of things have changed. I went on a family Zoom. I'm feeling very well. My family's all right, but I'm feeling very subconscious.
I didn't mean
about,
my family. I just meant Zooms in general with people. That's not what I meant family.
Maybe. So yeah, went on a family Zoom the other night. It was good times, but I saw everyone had gained their COVID 1 or 2 pounds, but I felt less because I was just man, I know when 2021 comes, I got to start some sort of training program.
You want to work out together?
Nope.
That was pretty quick.
We could ride bikes again. That went well the first time.
Riding bikes together was the almost death scenario.
A park ranger had to save Galen.
I was rescued. I was rescued by a park ranger.
Start from the beginning on this story.
Oh, I love this story. I've told this story hundreds of times to people.
The beginning was the log, which to me was my favorite.
That's
part
not even the beginning. The beginning is me waking up, not eating any food all day long. You text me hey, you want to go bike riding? And I'm like, yeah, sure. What could go wrong? Pack up the bike, put it on the back of the truck, zip out there. I'm like, oh, you know what? I should probably get some food before this. So I drink a ounce of water and a couple of Gatorade chews.
The chews,
I'm like, I'll be fine. This will be great. And we went over the log. And,
I went over the log.
Jared went over the log. I went over the side of the log.
So the first 5 minutes in the woods, we did. I don't know if you're in Richmond and you're listening to this, then maybe you've mountain biked at Pocahontas Park, and so there's a little practice loop. It's like the warm up loop, I guess, to make sure your bike is going to work once you get on the trails. And there's one nice sized log, maybe about a foot wide and about 15 feet long, with a solid 2.5 to 3 foot drop on both sides. So it's just like a little play log. You don't have to go across it. Galen wasn't forced to go across this log. But in his first venture bike ride out, I go across the log and Galen goes, going for it. And he starts crossing the log and I turn around and look and he's about halfway down and then he just goes, nope. His front wheel dies off the side. Your Walmart bike was almost destroyed within the first 100 feet.
Where did I even get that bike?
Was it not like a Walmart bike?
No, for
or
sure.
You got
not.
it off of
I bought it from a guy who was selling bikes.
Okay.
But here's the thing. I've been riding bikes he probably stole it. He stole it from a nice neighborhood. It's the Roundtree Missing Edition 2016. I've been riding bikes my whole life, so falling off a bike is nothing. But you're laughing so hard, and I was just this is just part of the journey. I remember this is terrible. I have vivid memories of my friend Billy in front of our house. We set up a ramp.
Oh yeah.
On the street, Old Berry Road. Nate just called it a property 1313 Old Berry Road. That's why it sticks in my memory. Old Berry Road. I was in front of 1201 Old Berry Road. He's going over the ramp. We've all done it. We're all doing it. And for whatever reason, he doesn't time it correctly. He pulls the wheelie early, falls down face first into the concrete, knocked out all 3 teeth.
3?
All 3. gone. And he was just like, ugh. He's just like, and so like his brother Chris is there, and Chris turns, he's like, ugh, you look gross. That's typical sibling behavior as well. Like your siblings are never going to be there to be like, oh my God, are you okay? They're like, ugh, you look gross. So, but I mean, that was just part of it, just like hurting wrists, falling down. So this was just more of the same. But back to the story.
Yeah, so we hit the regular trail.
We hit the regular trail. I'm on an empty stomach. I'm feeling like, all right, whatever. Just the high of just being out with people. We run into like a random dude that and he's just like zipping all over the thing like he's a professional like Virginia backwoods bike rider.
Rides like 100 miles a week.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, this is great. So I'm like, all right. So we're like going all over the place. We go downhill, and I'm like coming back. We've been riding for a while. The sun's starting to set. And as I'm riding it, I start feeling like nauseous.
We'd mainly gone downhill up until this point.
I was like not feeling great, and I was like, man, I don't really feel that great.
Now
I'm
we're
like,
going back.
Then
up
I'm like,
the
forget it.
hill.
I'm like, that's fine. And I'm like pedaling, going, and all of a sudden I'm just like, am I gonna yak? And I was like, I think I'm gonna yak. And then so like I slow down, and then it hit me. I don't even know how to describe it. It was not like a subtle thing. It was like feeling sick.
It was like we need a helicopter.
Yeah, I know. It was like it felt like someone like jumped on me. I like got dizzy. I'm seeing stars. I
you
get
were
off the
sitting
bike.
in the leaves. You were like down
I got
on
off
the
the
leaves.
bike, tried to put my legs up, and I'm like, all right. So you put your legs up, elevate. I'm like, yeah, that's a very true thing.
I've never.
You're supposed to elevate your legs and feel like you're gonna like get dizzy.
Sure.
From like working out. I learned that from Chris Wheeler's personal trainer. So I'm like, all right, let me do that. So I like immediately started feeling better. And I'm like,
does this happen often?
We've never biked.
We've never bike ridden before.
We never did this again afterwards.
I've gone without Jared. So I'm like, oh, I'm feeling great. Elevated up. The second I put my legs down to get up, it was like all over again. I'm just like, ugh. For some reason at that time, every like foreign national bike rider was in the park. I mean, I heard every accent of like, are you okay? How are you doing? You okay? I mean, it's just like I'm like, leave me alone. Everyone go away. I mean, it seemed like there was like a parade going on, and there was like, he's okay? Is he need anything? I'm like, guys, I'd rather die than for you to help me. So I was like, just leave me. Leave me in the woods.
So where was Jared?
He was with me. He was with me.
Was he like making deals as you were like?
Jared was on the phone. And he was just like, I'm trying to close this house. My friend's dying. But anyways, no closing costs. So I was like, typical.
I mean, what am I supposed to do? I'm not going to carry him up the mountain. I can't pedal for him.
I was like, I'm fine. Just leave. But then like Zippy McZipper on the bike, he like took off, found the park ranger. So like the park ranger comes and he's like, we're getting in there. I'm just like, oh, I feel terrible. And he's just like, hey, what'd you eat today? And I'm just like, I mean, nothing. He was like, yeah, definitely don't come out here on an empty stomach. And I was like, I had the Gatorade juice. He's like, yeah, that's nothing. He's like, you got to eat like a full meal before you come out there. I'm like, the more you know. Like that guy was super nice.
Like the episode of The Office where he eats the whole pot of like fettuccine Alfredo before the run, and then refuses to drink water the whole time. You ever see that one?
Yeah.
I just watched that the other night.
Oh man, what a great show! But yeah, great memory.
We could just do kid stories for an entire podcast, I'm sure.
I got tons of good stories, man. I was with like some kids the other night, and they were like asking, like, Galen, what were you like when you were a kid? And Kat's like, please don't tell them. And she's like, oh. And I was like, well, I was like, there was a time that I like got interviewed by the FBI for a terrorist charge. There was a time that like I set my grandma's backyard on fire. There was a time that like I stole from my teacher. I was like, which one of these stories do we want to poke from? And she's just like, nah. I'm like, Kat, you got to give them the real. You got to give them the very real. But,
you remember the bottle bombs where you used to like put the chemicals in the plastic and they would explode really loud? Mm-hmm. There was I won't incriminate myself. I'll just say I heard there's some people that were throwing them in the sewer systems.
Yeah, I heard that.
And then on the news, they were sending out scientists we saw because they were investigating like seismic activity. But in reality,
this is what makes this podcast so well. No clue is going to go this direction.
Allegedly.
I don't think they ever caught those kids.
Whoever those kids were. Pretty, I'm trying to think, how do you like phrase this sentence without like incriminating? So Aaron. Aaron is my buddy, helped me work in the car, who also like broke down the car into like a million pieces. Like allegedly when we were much younger, I'm not saying this is true. I'm saying that kids that we knew were attending a party and we're like, man, this party's terrible. I said, you know what would be fun? If some other kids that we knew got some other kid's little brother to come over with a paintball gun and then like allegedly shoot this entire house up. Allegedly. And allegedly that happened, and it was like the funniest thing in the world to us. Because when you're kids, you have no concept of
that
like
you just ruined someone's entire house,
or what could possibly happen to
like putting
people.
an eye out.
A total eye out. I think about that all the time. I'm like, eye out. You could have definitely put an eye out. That kid could have definitely put an eye out, but
he could be in jail still.
He could be, whoever that is, allegedly. So, thankfully, from what I heard from the blog that I read, no one was hurt, and. In some sort of fluke, allegedly, like the paint was like water-based paint, and allegedly, like
you got to get out of your clothes.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
Sense.
So the funny alleged part is that the person who's throwing the party was not supposed to be having a party because his parents were out of town. So he was in a conundrum.
How do you even explain it?
Exactly. And he was just like, "What do? Do you call the police?"
Burglars.
Because they're gonna be like, "Well, we need to speak to your parents." And he's like, "Yeah, you can't do that," because they definitely gave me. And this was like, there's been two big parties I remember, but this is one of those parties where it wasn't just like a couple of kids. This was like, how are the neighbors not calling the police? I mean, there's hundreds of kids everywhere. I'm like, as an old man now, if I saw like my neighbors do that, I'd be like, I'm dialing 911,
calling the police,
and I'm hitting the next one, and like, if you guys can get out of there. But I mean, it was like swarms of kids. So, what about you, Mike? You stole some gum out of a gumball machine once, like in the 1800s. What did you
1800s?
I'm gonna
1960.
I'm gonna just pass on this.
Okay. Mike's the new dad, so he has to like set a good example.
That's right.
I've definitely done my fair share of fun things. So,
as a kid, did you ever think like? What did you think about like getting in trouble? Was that ever like something like when you did something crazy where you're like, oh man, I could get in trouble for this?
How crazy?
Here's my thing. As a kid, anything I did, and I did like some dumb stuff, like the FBI called and stuff, like it never occurred to me. Like I get thought about like getting in trouble, but like I get caught.
Yeah.
But it never occurred to me like actual trouble.
You could go to jail.
Yeah, none of that ever occurred to me. It was just kind of like I just assumed like the judge would be like, ha ha, whimsical kids.
We used to play airport tag in the airport before like there was. Where you
security?
you could actually see
that
someone.
is kind of funny how the world works.
Yeah. So I remember being in high school and going to the airport, Tampa Airport, and playing airport tag. So about 20 people. And
just running around. Could you imagine?
Get tased
2020.
real quick.
Bunch of kids show up to the airport and just like running around like touching each other. I mean, I remember touching each other. Period.
I remember hiding in a closet with the brooms and everything at the airport.
That's hilarious. I remember this is like I always feel like funny about this. Like after September 11th, like everyone got like the magnetic flags. And so after about like 7 or 8 months, the luster kind of like wore off on the flags. It was like everyone had them. They're like the RVA sticker. It's just like everyone had them. Didn't even mean anything anymore. So me and my buddies, we like one evening in the fan, we're like, who could collect the most magnetic flags? And we launched on this thing. And that was like the one time we didn't get in trouble. My mom found out, and like she was like nuclear mad. And like she came to my room and she had like a stack of them. And there was like this American flag. She was like, what is this? And I was just like, I bought them. Like that was not working, and she was just like, my mom was like, "Hey, I want you to put them all back." And like I was like laughing, and she was getting mad because I'm like, the logistics of me being able to even do this is impossible.
Now you're a random weirdo going around putting stickers on people's cars.
I'm super patriotic. I'll probably make like the 12 news like young individual named Galen Barker, super patriotic, putting flags on people's cars, and like someone's like, yeah, mine were stolen. I'm like, what? But I like that was the biggest thing because I remember my mom was so bad, and I can hear her words. She was like, I want you to put all these back.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell any of these stories.
I was like,
now that the more I think about it, the more I'm not going to do that.
No.
So are we going to, or do we?
These are some of the A stuff.
So do we deep
dark
dive
stuff
into the year review, or do we? I mean, this is just a year review.
What
podcast.
do you guys want to hear?
Yeah.
You let us know.
Yeah.
Let's go with the stats.
All right, we got some stats.
But we need to, do we deep dive into this? I think
stats?
we deep dive it, right?
Okay.
I think I just need you a reason to play your deep dive music.
Just play
Mike.
the deep dive music, Mike. We're giving you away.
All right, we're pausing. Deep dive.
You're gold, all on your own, but we keep shining in the light. Out with
Hold on,
our friends,
it's a long deep dive.
thinking it's only us in here tonight. I know that you're not looking for somebody, but let me be the one tonight. Don't need
There's a little mellow feel.
How long is this gonna go on?
Just let me be the one.
I'm not paying Aloe Black for that. Just so that we are all clear. We're not.
Man, it used to just be like a deep dive, and we're back in. Now it's like,
It's like a 20-minute concert. I like the song, whoever it was.
all right.
Shout out to that guy.
Thank you.
So year in review, how did we do, Galen?
You know what? Let's go to the stats because everyone loves numbers as much as we do. No one loves numbers as much as we do.
Yeah.
We are well over 1,000 listeners for our episodes, so thank you so much.
Exciting.
Excuse me.
COVID.
Oh God. Don't ever cough in public. But before we do stats, I just think about our podcast being listened to. I was like talking to someone. My wife had like a Zoom with like a bunch of her friends, and she was like, "Galen, if you want to say something on the camera to the group. Don't like yell over my shoulder." And I was like, "I'm shy." And then like this little voice comes and goes, "You're not shy on that podcast." And I was like, "Who said that?" It was like someone I'd never spoken to before. You know her. I'm not gonna say her name. I don't want to embarrass her. But I'm like, "How did you?" And she's, I'm like, "You listen to the podcast?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You're like the last person I ever thought of." Like, one, you're not even old enough to buy a house.
I'm amazed at how many people listen to the podcast. How many people have seen the vlog? I mean, if there's one thing we've done this year right as a real estate team, I would definitely say it's social media. And, I mean, who else is doing this in Richmond?
I don't know.
Nobody. It may not be worth doing or interesting to enough people. I don't know, but we're going to keep doing it.
I love it.
Because people are listening.
This is just
1,000
good
plus
Galen
people.
Jared time.
We just do this to hang
out.
out. We just pay Mike to hang out in the studio pretty much.
What's that, Mike?
I was pretty amazed on where the
That's what I'm
downloads are
looking
coming
at.
out.
Here we go. We got obviously United States. That's kind of a
Most
no-brainer.
of the listeners.
Shout out to the following: Canada, Ireland, Russia.
Qatar.
Who's in Russia that's listening? What are we saying that Russia? We're peaking Russia's like. Are we about to be like the mole in the United States and we don't even know it? Like,
So I actually have some clients, I think, over in Qatar, but we have multiple listens. So now I'm like,
And these are multiple downloads, more than just one episode. So it's like they're actually
like downloading the episodes.
more
they've
episodes.
subscribed.
Yeah.
Now they're subscribed.
Somewhere, a village in a foreign country, they've all gathered to. It's like family night. They've downloaded and they're like, we will now play the Jared Galen podcast show. And then like there's like little kids like, and I am Galen Parker. And I just like love that. Philippines. Thank you.
A little Filipino
All right, you get
village
the next
somewhere. Let's see. Did I go the right way? Oh, Mexico.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Netherlands.
Iceland.
South Korea.
Wait. Okay. Barbados.
North Korea. No, I'm just kidding. It's not North Korea. I actually know the Barbados guy.
Okay.
I know who that is.
All right.
Brazil.
And the UK.
Man, thank you guys so much. Australia, Aruba, India, Taiwan
All
as
right.
well.
I think I missed that sheet.
I think it's.
There should be a map of where the people have downloaded in the United States too.
There
I know.
is.
We're about to run through that real quick. Here.
We're crushing California.
Thank you, California.
I mean, West Coast, whatever's happening out there, we actually have a solid amount of people that are listening and downloading.
People are inside their house and they're like, I wonder what those East Coast kids are up to.
You know, I'm trying to think. We
take that.
have like an Oklahoma listener too. So you're like, where did that guy's? What's he doing?
Texas.
New York, Michigan, Maryland.
New York makes sense to me.
Maryland makes total sense. We're close.
Pennsylvania. All right. West Virginia. I almost had a deal with a client from West Virginia, but it did not go well. Now listen, sometimes we were talking about this last week. Sometimes you got to fire your service provider because they can't get it done. Sometimes you got to fire your client.
Yes.
And I recently had one of those where I was like, you know what? Let's go separate ways. We should probably do that. And so maybe they're from West. Maybe they downloaded it. Then they're like, you know what? I don't want to deal with this guy. But I don't know. It was a bad situation. They sent like an email that they thought was like to someone else about me to me.
Oh, those people.
Yeah. And I was like, they sent it. I'm like,
So
do you not know how the internet works?
So we're not dealing with them anymore.
They bought a house in West Virginia.
Really?
Yeah.
So they drove up here for multiple showings from West Virginia.
Correct.
And then just bought a house in West Virginia.
Correct.
So they just gave up.
They just gave up. They did not understand the market.
They were like, we're not staying anywhere near Galen.
So like there's a big thing like in the intro we talk about like people come to us for advice and we're happy to give it to you. But if you don't listen to the advice, it really doesn't help you. And so I think they did not understand the market as far as, how things are going, how hot it is, multiple bids. And they were just like, well, if they listed it for $2, we should pay $2. And it's just like, yeah.
They're like, this isn't like this in West Virginia.
That's exactly
where we're from.
what they said.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we're seeing houses in West Virginia that are twice the size, but the same price.
They're like,
I'm
how far away is the nearest grocery
yeah,
store?
exactly. I'm like, yeah, but it's like deep in West. It's like not even in like a populous place in West Virginia. So I was just like, yeah. So
we're supposed to get cell service next year.
yeah, no. You guys got high speed internet, so I was very cordial with them. I don't lose my temper or anything. I just explain it to them.
He really doesn't.
Even like when people were bad mouthing me via email, I'm like, so you thought you were sending this to my colleagues, which is like not nice. But I was like, hey, agree to disagree.
Galen's the nice guy.
Here are the facts that I will present you for my case. It didn't go though with like the 50% of that couple. They wrote me back and they're like, I am so sorry. Loved you. Thought you did a great job. Want to continue working with you. So I was like, hey, we're good.
And then they went and bought a house in another state.
Yeah, exactly. So
I got you. Well, at least they were
happen.
honest, right?
Exactly. I'll tell that to my mortgage. I'm like, hey, well, at least they were honest. They're like, get out. But, that's how it goes. But thank you for West Virginia. We got a Missouri. Who's listening to Missouri?
Are we good on this over here, Mike? You're blinking. You got a light blinking. Just making sure.
It's recording.
Oh, cool.
Okay. We're recording.
Just making sure.
So,
wanna
deep
lose the
dive.
bid.
So, what else has happened? We've added some nice additions to the team.
Yeah, so it's been a year at EXP Realty coming up in
Almost, for
January.
me.
Yeah, so we actually moved over right at the start of the year.
A stellar team photos too.
Yeah, Mike doing some team photos. So we'll talk about that later. Talk about that after.
Off camera.
Off camera.
Oh, jeez.
So,
Remember, you said I was the nice one.
That's right.
We're going to flip it on to Jared on that discussion now.
so we moved to EXP in January. We had been with Remax for 7 years. By far and away, the best change we've ever made in our real estate careers. I mean, if you're an agent that's debating moving brokerages, I mean, I know the end of the year, a lot of time is a time when people will start to consider it just because it's a new year, it's a new start. If you've thought that maybe where you're at isn't getting the tools, or maybe it's not doing the production you need, or you're not getting the help you need, or even if you're a new agent, you may have been looking to get onto a team, please reach out to me or Galen. We are looking to expand the team. We've got about 10 agents right this second. We would like to be at about 20 agents by the end of 2021. So again, if you're looking to expand, if you're looking to grow, if you're looking to increase your sales, please get with us. And if you don't want to be on a team, just from a solo agent basis, EXP is the greatest thing I've ever seen. We came over in January, Galen. The stocks was $8 a share.
The penny stock.
The penny stock was $8 a share. It just hit $80 a share today. So it's gone up 1,000% since January. And they give you stock for selling. Literally, you can do the same exact thing you do as an agent.
You were already going to do it.
You're not going to do
I
anything
hope.
different. And they'll give you stock. So, I mean, I won't say necessarily how much each one of us got, but it's over 6 figures across the team as far as what they've given away this year. And that's before the residual options and all the other income streams. So I think they're doing some insurance options too for like health insurance.
They are.
I've heard some different things on that. So
One of the I was talking to an agent Thursday about it, and I told her I would circle back with her today. But one of the things that like got me is one day you're not going to want to list or show houses.
Yeah.
Some people say you don't want to show houses. One day you're not going to do either.
I don't want to do either right now.
And you're going to need, and so there's like, what do you do at the end? It's like, what's your exit strategy? Well, EXP outlined an exit strategy for us that made sense, where I was just like, oh, wait a minute. I can still be bringing in money,
Yep.
but not knocking on doors or like being ignored by my clients, when I give them advice and stuff like that. So I was like, that made sense. And so that is something that if you're an agent and perhaps you're thinking, man, I'm getting tired of doing this, but I love the industry, come talk to us.
Or
There
even
are
if
some
you-
options.
Even if you just want residual income, even if you're not tired of doing this, right? I mean, I don't foresee us stopping selling for a long time.
I'm done in 2021.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
But at the end of the day, I mean, if you could have an extra $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 drop into your account every month for doing nothing, they just wire it into your account. I don't see why you wouldn't want to take advantage of that in some way. So, yeah, if you're an agent and you've thought about changing brokers, even if you're not in Richmond and you're listening to this, if you're one of our California agents,
Oklahoma, holla at me.
Oklahoma agent, wherever you're at, we will expand in whatever market you're at. We've launched what, 6 or 7 countries in the last probably 4 months
Yeah.
with EXP. We've hit like India. I think we hit what was it? UK, South Africa, Mexico. It's been growing like wildfire. So
I got lost when you said Oklahoma. I started thinking about like the Oklahoma song.
we're almost in Oklahoma. We've hit 9 countries and we've almost made it.
Almost
we've
got a
almost
foothold.
made it to Oklahoma.
Oh, you know the Oklahoma song?
Is it?
What about you, Mike?
What's that?
Mike's not even listening. Thanks, producer. Mike's over there like playing on PS5.
He's like words with friends.
Oklahoma's where the wind comes. You don't remember that song?
Yes, I know. that song.
Sweeping around the plains and the waving wheat.
Can we do this?
I know. Are we
Is
going to
allowed
get
do
sued by
this?
Oklahoma?
Let's not do it.
No,
All
no.
right. So yeah, EXP, that's been a
can't
huge
do anything.
change. Sales, we landed at right around 120, 125 sales for the year.
Dollars. What else is happening in the world of real estate?
So Ariana Grande married, or sorry,
Wait,
sorry,
hold on.
I'm getting excited.
This is-
I'm getting a little excited.
This is Hollywood. Hollyweird.
Got engaged to her realtor. So if there's a realtor,
Mama, we made it.
yeah, right? If there's any realtor that has made it this year, it's that guy.
It's that guy.
Right?
It is that guy.
Can you imagine?
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Dalton Gomez on the line. He's calling it. Oh, he's not calling it right now.
Can we just back up and really break this down for a second? If you were a single human and you
Right.
showed some smoke show a house,
Okay.
or maybe you were the smoke show and she thought, or vice versa, maybe you're a woman realtor, whatever. But you show her house, you sell her house, and then you guys start dating and you get married. That's a cool story, right?
Right.
But now that girl's Ariana Grande.
I mean,
Can
are
we
we
just
talking
what?
about it?
I mean, what? That is crazy.
That is huge. I'm very happy for him.
At what point did he make a move? Because as a realtor, like you're not like going to be hitting on your clients anyways,
no,
right?
it's
But
like
at what point was he just like, all right, I just got to ask? I
You've
mean,
got to like kind of like play it cool. She's probably got to like, because you don't want to fair housing. You don't want to get any trouble. You're just like ethics everywhere.
Me Too movement.
Yeah,
let's
so you're
go
just like, hey, and then she's got to be like, so
just like-
Dalton, you're like,
I mean, you'd probably be like,
Really?
could you just have like an assistant with you the whole time too? I don't even want to show you a house if it's just us two. Maybe we could have, a middleman.
can I get a chaperone?
Can I have a mediator for my? I know I'm a mediator, but can I have another?
Can I have
mediator?
another mediator
We
for
need
this-
another one? Can I have
this
two-
other
two
transaction that I'm
realtors?
trying to lock down?
I'm uncomfortable right now.
Congratulations to them.
Where was the house? Where'd she buy the house?
I mean, I'm sure like
Los
LA,
Angeles,
right?
I think.
mean,
He's a Los Angeles agent.
I'm not that impressed, you guys. I mean, like,
all right, I'm sorry. All right, if Eddie Van Halen,
it's Hollywood. It's Hollywood. Are we gonna fall across? I mean,
Okay.
they girls are like a dime a dozen. They come like
Ariana
agents-
Grande
Yeah,
is
but
not a dime a dozen.
Yes.
If it was Taylor Swift, would it change your mind?
No.
Oh my God.
No.
All right.
As a woke male, I would
I'm just
never
saying,
say that
I'm
girls
just-
are a diamond. What are you,
No,
some
I'm
sort
just
of
saying.
pig?
I'm just saying that it's not that hard to think about what happens like that, and especially in Hollywood.
No, as a celebrity, it is because
For
it
sure.
would be cool enough if you like. I have a buddy in New York. Shout out to BW. I won't throw your name out there.
How's that boat?
He's that's the other. Oh man! So he sells real estate in New York City, which is another place like that, right? And he sold Matt Damon his penthouse in Brooklyn. He sold John Kransky and his wife, Emily Blunt, that he's married to, theirs. And I think he did like Peyton Manning. And I think he did a bunch of others.
Which
But here's the
probably
thing:
never
he
even
didn't
met-
marry any of
Yes,
them, Mike.
he met them.
That's what you're missing.
There's one thing about convincing a client to use you.
Yes.
But it's not hard.
Yeah, like my friend has Matt Damon's phone number in his phone.
And he
That's very cool.
He could be like, hey,
but he's not gonna
MD
be like,
has the
Matt,
house.
you want to go on a date?
And then you want to go on subsequent dates?
Could we just hang out?
Then do you want to legally bind ourselves together for eternity? Maybe.
Where's
Like,
that prenup?
There's
I'll
a lot
sign.
of steps.
Yeah.
That have been accomplished by Mr. Dalton.
Right.
I'm calling him Mr. Dalton from here on
Can we
out.
really get a Facebook direct message or something? And that's the thing, like he doesn't even have like a blown up like profile or anything
Low
like
profile.
that. Like it's locked. I'm like, what kind of realtor just has a
The other we were talking about this. The other funny thing is like it's not like she's had like a quiet dating life either.
Well, that's
It's
the thing. Is
like
their latest big song was like Next. I mean,
it's like public everything. It's like somewhere Pete Davidson's like, oh god,
Poor Pete. I
poor
love
Pete Davidson, man. Well, I want that guy to get another win.
You see, he's taking all his tattoos off.
Whoa.
They said he was gonna like take them because he was having to go through makeup for like 3 hours at a time to like get them, whatever. So
How many shows? What movies is he doing? Like no. Well, I mean, he's got a lot of dumb tattoos.
I don't know.
A lot of celebrities have dumb tattoos. It's like there's no collage. It's just like a sporadic.
Post Malone,
Yeah, just like what are you doing right now?
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Ugh, that guy's the worst. It's like tattoos on your face and stuff. Like, come on, what are you doing? Come on, guys. Hey, come on, guys. So that's another big thing. What's the other big ones? Like the he bought the baseball card.
Oh yeah, some realtor bought a 3
Oh, I did see
real
that.
estate mogul.
I did see that.
Honus Wagner.
But he paid 3.6 million for
Yeah.
a baseball
Yeah.
card.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
How much money do you have when you can spend 3.6 million on a baseball card?
And here's the thing: he's not even that big of a baseball fan. He said. He was like, "Oh, I'm not really that big of a baseball fan." He was like, "I just recognized that it was something that was rare, and I wanted to like." Honus Wagner's got like a funny story because it's like, obviously his name was like Hans Wagner, but at that time you're like, you can't really have a name that like seems German even in like the slightest. So,
Is he
like,
that old? He's not that old. How is he?
Yeah, Honus Wagner's been dead.
Is he really old?
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh no, the baseball player.
baseball player
I thought
who
you meant
made
the
it-
guy.
yeah,
What
who
was
made
the
it
guy's
fa-
name that bought it?
I cannot remember.
He's young.
He's young. You know what? Hey, internet.
You have a computer.
Internet.
Well, congrats to that guy for
Google.
however much cash you have that you just buy a $3.6 million trinket that you don't even care about.
I was like, I don't know if that makes like. I feel like you got to tell both those stories, Dalton and this guy, the same sentence because like one makes realtors look like really really cool, and the other one makes realtors look like really really bad. It's like I found this arbitrary card and I purchased it for $3.
I mean, I'd like to refer some deals to Gomez.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, so I'm Honus Wagner card. Why is this not like the top of super? Oh, here we go. And this just says expected to sell.
We need a Googler. We need an in-house podcast Googler.
Can we get a Googler? Mike, you've got one job. Everyone's talking about the sale. It's like that's such a real estate thing too. Everyone's like talking about the sale. No one's talking about the actual person. We're like, who's the person? Everyone's like, who cares?
No, I want to know the person.
We care.
Yeah.
I feel like someone sent it to us the other, but all right, we're gonna look.
Mike
We're gonna
sent
come
it to
back to
us.
it.
All
I
right.
think Mike sent it to us.
3.6 million, 3.7 million for a baseball card. Let's just, all right. So this is a RVA real estate podcast, so we should probably actually talk real estate for a minute.
Let's get real.
Market forecasts for 2021. What do you think? I know the answer to this, but we'll
I know what you want the answer to be.
oh wait, we're going to the stratosphere.
Here's my thing. I am extremely mogul Kurt Rappaport. That's his name. Sorry. Real estate mogul.
Okay, podcast is over now.
Now let's go back. We'll go back to it.
$3.7 million.
3.7 million for a baseball card.
Kurt Rappaport.
And he's not really a realtor, is he? He's just probably.
It says real estate mogul.
So he just owns a lot of real estate.
Yeah, so it's like at one point, but now he probably, but yeah.
Okay.
He, like you, connection, super optimistic about 2021, like I am as well. Bring it back, ladies and gentlemen. That just happened.
So people have asked us, is the market going to keep going up? I saw a stat, I think earlier this week. It said that in Richmond, the average home price over the last 12 months has risen around $65,000. That's incredible. It's an incredible gain. So people have said, you know, is it going to keep going? Is it sustainable? Can we keep selling houses at the rate we're selling them at? Here's my thought. I'm not an economist.
play one on TV.
I'm an adequate realtor. But here's the thing. There's only 1 month's worth of supply still on the market, right? We're talking about Richmond. If you're listening to this outside of Richmond, then you got to look at your own market and your statistics and all that good stuff. Some of your bigger luxury markets, obviously, it's a little bit of a different story.
Absolutely.
But I would say most smaller towns, cities, and places throughout the U.S. are probably having a similar experience as Richmond is. 1 month supply, which means if we stopped listing houses right now, within 1 month, everything would be gone.
They gone.
Anything under 3 months is pretty much a seller's market. You know, you start getting above that. Let's say you reach 5-6 months plus. Now you're starting to get into a buyer's market. So here's the thing. Some people say, well, with COVID, people are out of work still and this and that. They're looking at maybe possible foreclosures occurring, things to get, whatever, a market downturn. Here's my thought. Again, I could be wrong. I'm not set in stone. If we've gained $65,000 in equity in our houses on average in the last 12 months, and then you think, well, how much equity do we have before that? That means if you bought your house 12 months ago, hypothetically, you could be up to $60,000 right now. And if you've owned it for more than that, the last 3, 4, 5 years, most likely you're up a extravagant amount.
Over that.
Yeah, and I want to say, again, I'm not going to throw an exact number out, but I want to say the average equity in homes right this second was about $100,000 to $120,000, something like that for the average person. So here's the issue. 2008, it was a downturn forced around the housing, all these subprime mortgages and things like that. All of the prior recessions, values did not drop. This was the only one that made things drop. So now we're coming into the exit of a recession. We're actually bouncing back. The housing market is upturning. And at the end of the day, how are you going to create so much inventory that you crash, right? So my thought is, if you had defaults, and our unemployment rate's not that high right now either, but even if you had a large level of people that said, I can't afford my house,
I want to sell it.
Put a sign in the yard.
There's
and you have plenty of equities.
They're going to be bidding on that house
exactly.
immediately.
So if there's 8 buyers to every seller right this second. So if you have $100,000 in equity, even if you had to fire sale it at $70,000 in equity, you're still going to sell it and take your cash and go be able to hop into a rental, right? I don't foresee, because of the level of equity, enough people having to foreclose and banks taking their houses before they could sell them. So I don't think the inventory is going to uptick, but so much. And again, if it did, and we did get some foreclosures, I wish that doesn't happen because I don't want people to lose their houses.
Nope.
But we do need inventory, and we do need people to sell flips to, and I'm looking for houses to buy to flip or rent. I mean, it's tough.
We're getting a lot of calls from investors who are like, hey, do you know of anything? It's like, man, we're all looking.
Good luck.
We're all looking for that.
I mean, yeah, and I'm cutting my profit margins down on some flips just to be able to keep the inventory running and keep stuff flipping because it's hard to find them. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. With the vaccine around the corner, you know, who knows if everybody's going to take it.
Shot.
Who knows how long
everybody. Sorry.
Who knows how long it'll take for everybody to get the shots? You know, will they work? Yada yada yada. History, all this garbage.
Are you gonna get the shot? If you can get the shot,
100%. I would take. If you gave me a shot right now,
what about you?
Oh yeah, my wife is in the high percentile of getting. COVID.
She's doctor. Sweet.
So, yeah.
I mean, listen. I understand everybody's worries. How you make something in 7-8 months? Yeah.
I want it right
now. But
now.
here's the thing.
My sister just got it.
Can we just keep in mind without getting into like politics and stupid opinions and like whatever? Because you don't want to. You know, I don't want to be like this and somebody else is over here. You know, we like to be neutral. But come on, man. 5 months ago, everybody was freaking out about COVID. And you were like, this is going to kill us all. You hit all these people. And then all of a sudden, you're like, this shot's going to kill us all. And you're like, guys.
You're like, make up your mind.
Pick one.
You got one of these things has got to do it.
It's all of a sudden like you got a vaccine and now COVID doesn't seem that bad. All of a sudden like you have a way to get rid of it and they're like, nah, I'd rather have
you
COVID.
know what, I think I'm just going to keep
like, no,
it.
you didn't want COVID.
Wait, what?
You really did not want COVID 5 months ago. Now you're like,
well, we don't know what the shot will give to us.
I'm like, that's what you said about COVID 5 months ago.
It's probably going to be worse than the COVID.
Can we agree that's exactly what you said about COVID? They're like, we don't know the long-term effects. We don't know. Oh yeah, you may be healthy now, but what are your lungs going to do in 10 years? And everybody had the same exact
smoking a vape.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna
unless you want to sponsor. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, would you like to sponsor this podcast?
I love how this is totally like off topic.
Again, we're
remember in like 2012, Richmond, there's like donuts and muffin shops everywhere.
I remember cupcake shops.
Oh, cupcakes
really
too. Yeah, there's cupcakes, there's donuts, and now it's like vapes. I feel like, right? Like everywhere you go, it's like Mike Resendez vapes, and they all have like these like kooky names,
Riding
like
the wave.
Cloudy Days vapes and stuff. So, vapes is like a very. I'm sorry if you vape. If you vape, and maybe this is your exit strategy from smoking cigarettes. Congratulations, you're weeding stuff, but. You look ridiculous. You look so silly. It's like, no, like I remember like I was walking somewhere and like this guy was like trying to give like a facade of like real cool, tough guy sitting in his car. It's like leaning back and I'm like looking at him. People, he's like,
his USB drive.
Little thing, and I was just like, that thing looked like a lit up kazoo right there. I was like,
10 years ago, 11 years ago, when I moved here, they still had places where you had to pick for smoking or non-smoking in restaurants. I was like, where are we?
Vaping. That's so funny.
No,
but
right.
anyways. back on topic.
Both arms. Just pop them in both arms right this
I
second. I'll take it. I
My
want to get on a
sister sent me
plane.
picture and she was like, get her shot. And I was like, I am so jealous of you right now.
I'm ready to travel. I mean, I am annoyed that I'm going to have to get the shot and they're going to still make me wear a mask everywhere.
Right.
But ultimately, they still don't know. Like, you may still be able to spread it, right? You just,
Yeah, so the shot actually has nothing to do with like the transference of the virus. It's all about the symptoms. And like, I'm okay with that. I'm like, I don't want the symptoms either. It's like, yes, I don't want to spread it. I also don't want to like lose half my lungs. So
yeah, you'll
like,
wear the mask for,
I'm probably going to wear the mask regardless forever.
But at least you know you can't get it. So then you can hop on a plane with your mask on if you want and not have to worry about it.
Kudos to these doctors that are the scientists who put this together. I mean, like
7 months, 8 months.
Hey,
pretty good.
I am like floored. And some people are like, well, should we trust it? It was quick. I'm like, things are going to be quick when you have like the smartest people and a tons of money. Like if we had all the smartest people and all the tons of money going into something and it took a long time, we'd be like, what are you guys doing?
Somebody the other day was
come
like,
on, scientists.
Someone the other day was like,
you did what we wanted you to do.
Someone the other day was like, well, I mean, like they haven't been able to cure cancer yet. I'm like, these are two totally different things. I was like, you're like talking something that's flu-like, not the flu. Gosh, that's not the flu. I know it's not the flu, but you know what I'm saying? I get it, guys. We get it. We understand. It's serious. We don't want it. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, you've had the squeaky wheel gets oiled. That was like top priority for the world. Pretty much. Everybody, not just one country, not just one whatever.
Like, there's going to be a lot of cool stories about. I mean, like think about that. The entire world stopped and everyone worked on the same math problem.
Yeah. Exactly.
Simultaneously, it's like if someone doesn't figure this out very quickly, we're gonna be like, "Well, we are doomed."
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, we didn't solve this." I'm like, "Yeah," because not everyone cared as much.
Then you had people like China trying to steal stuff when in reality everybody's probably like, "Look, we'll show you our work. Like we just want to like fix it." And they're like, "No, let's hack you anyway."
So here's the funny thing. Here's my thing about it. A lot of people, and I was like, "Do you know who first gave everyone like the blueprint to solve this thing?" China. Like they're the ones who gave everyone, and then they like sent it out to like that country in Europe. But they basically said like, here's the thing which you guys need to do and work on. But everyone's like, man, China's doing like. Now some people might argue that like those are like you created it. Exactly, you created it, so of course you know how to fix it. Which I'm just like,
so stupid.
I mean, come on, guys. But it's a pretty amazing thing to me just to see like all hands went on deck.
Yep.
And like all we had to do, and we didn't do a good job at it, is like just like they were just like, hey, just stop what you're doing, just let us work on the problem. Just don't go outside and like have like a rave with like 400 people inside of a building. And 60% of the people were like, okay, we'll do that. 40% of the people were like, you can't tell me what to do. So, that's how it is.
I'm ready. I'm like, I was looking at plane tickets today. I'm like, I want to ski. I'd like to get to Colorado. Yeah, just shoot me up. Let me go. I'll wear my mask so I don't offend anybody. And so I don't spread it. But yeah,
I'm going to wear my mask until like 2030. Just because it's like people aren't that clean like in general.
You're like, this was smart.
Yeah, I was like, we should have probably did this.
Most
before.
of the Asian countries were already on this.
Japan is all about that.
I mean, you see how hard it is when we told people to like wash their hands. Everyone's like, wash my
20
hands.
seconds.
20 hot water. I'm like, all right, so this is really not a great indication. But 2020 has been wild, and I've loved every minute of the ride. I've loved meeting all of the new people, all of the new clients.
We've had a lot.
I've made a lot of new best friends in this year.
It also improves the technology.
Jared's giving me the dirtiest eye right now. He's like, you have one best friend. Right. But
the technology, though, that what you can accomplish, what we have, and being with all these mandates is just amazing.
I'm like, I'm forever impressed with just how I think we needed something to change the way we look at a lot of stuff. Because it's like, I remember working for like a Fortune 200 company and like suggesting, I'm like, it'd be cool if we worked from home. And everyone's like, you can't work from home. We would all just die. And like now everyone works from home and like everyone's doing fine. Like profit margins, everyone's still being productive. And I'm just like, we needed something to like get people to start thinking out of the box. Yeah. And we've seen
it's
that
stay that way.
Ton in real estate. All these closings and stuff, and just like the way
no more closings.
We'll get back to closing. I like that's kind of like a social thing for me, but just like being able to do things. I like being able to say like, I've got 2 clients that closed on properties, easy peasy. They never stepped foot in Virginia. during
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole thing.
I had
And I was like, I
multiple.
love. Yeah, I was
That's
like,
awesome.
man, I was like,
That's awesome.
Like one of my guy, he bought a house. Like he still hasn't been to the house. He's just like he texted
Yeah.
me the other day. He's like, should I have the water turned on? I'm like, you should have done all that a
I
long
think
time
I did
ago.
3 or 4 like that, sight unseen purchases. It is what it was.
I remember when my in-laws bought a car. When they told me it took them like 4 hours to buy a car or 5 hours. I was like, "What are you doing? Why is it so long?" I went with them to buy their next car. They were out in like an hour. I was like,
Carvana.
I
You
can't
can do it in
believe
like
this.
I bought my Audi in like 15 minutes.
Everything's
on Carvana.
streamlined because
Yeah,
they're like
I mean,
people do
like-
not want to be in these buildings.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to anybody.
That's
so you
amazing.
just-
It's awesome.
I did.
So-
I bought the GT3 through text message with the dealer. Literally, like the guy never called me, and I think I maybe called him one time. Just like, I'm about to bring you a really big check tomorrow, so I just want to make sure you're real before I drove to
You're a
Maryland.
real person, right?
But outside of that, like, I mean, he texted me, and I mean, he was like an old dude.
I
that
just
did
bought my
it.
Acura.
I was like, thank you
Never,
so
like,
much for me not having
everything's
to
on the phone.
associate with you. And I just drove up the next day, handed him a check, he handed me my paperwork and keys, and
I remember going to like the test drive for like the Acura, and he was just like, "Here's the keys," and he just lets me like drive off, and we're in like it was like Northern Virginia. I'm just like, I love this. I was like, I don't have to have him like telling me. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. So
10 years from now, it'll be even more where you're not going to have to deal with a lot of things.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see where real estate will go. Obviously, we'll streamline things. I don't think agents will go away, but I think obviously we'll streamline it even more. We'll make
Yeah.
it even easier, and I look forward to that. There's no reason that we should make things harder. You know what I mean? Everything should get easier with time if we're just smart about it.
and then we might just be doing something else. Like anytime like something closes down, something else opens up. It's like when you're as charming as Jared Davis, you always got an opportunity.
That's Galen's the charmer. I'm just here. Yeah, so 2021, 200 deals. That's our goal for the Davis Group.
Correct.
$50 million in sales. And I think that the housing market's going to stay strong. I think it's not going to slow down through 2021. We'll see 2022. We'll see what mortgage rates do. Obviously, interest rates will play a factor. Affordability will play a factor at some point if prices keep going up. Affordability could become a concern. But I think we have a long way to go before a drastic change. Commercial real estate, I think, is going to be the biggest to be impacted. Your large office spaces aren't as needed anymore, right? Hotels, they're getting creamed.
Make them all into condos.
You can. That's not. Yeah.
Make them all into condos.
So I mean, there are definitely sectors that will be hurt. I think the commercial real estate's one. I think multifamily's on fire. We've sold 8 or 9 multifamilies this year, and I've got so many people looking. So I think if you're looking for rentals, multifamily is a good way to go. I think your commercial real estate, you got to be really specific about what you're looking for. Single families and BRRRRs are awesome. You know, if you don't know what BRRRRs are, check out our vlog. You'll see a whole episode on it. Galen, any other thoughts? I don't know. What are we at time-wise? Oh, yeah. We got to wrap this thing up.
No, I've got everything. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for downloading Oklahoma. Thank you for paying attention to the
Russia,
food fight. Thanks for
Qatar.
all the recommendations for the food fight. We've got we're nearing the end of pizza, and now
Yeah.
we're going to be going to shellfish
No. What are we, burgers?
and EpiPens.
Probably burgers next,
Burgers, I
right?
think.
Yeah, we'll do burgers. We'll do burgers.
Burgers is next. Guys, thank you for listening. Again, over 1,000 listeners now. It's awesome. If there's something you want us to talk about specifically, let us know. We know we teeter-totter between times as far as being good for realtors versus good for the buyer and seller. Sometimes they're good for both. But we do like to cover both subjects because we've got friends and clients that listen to our podcast, and we also have a lot of realtors that listen to our podcast. So if you want us to get more specific into some category, let us know what you want to hear. We do some investment-based stuff too. Obviously, we've had lenders on, we've had stagers on, we've had... What else have we had
Movers.
on? We've had movers on, so if there's any other guests you want us to have on, let us know. But we appreciate your support. If you want to reach out to us and follow us, I am __ the Davis Group, and Galen is...
I'm Galen Parker, sorry. I always like mess up with like the thing. It is Live, Learn, Love RVA. You can also find me at Own Your Home RVA, or you'll see the Own Your Home RVA vehicle coming through a town near you.
That is it. I'm Jared Davis,
I'm Galen Parker.
and this is the RVA Real Estate Talk Podcast. Thanks for listening. See you in 2021.
If you have a real estate question that you would like to ask Jared or Galen, reach out to them at jared@centralvarealty.com or galen@centralvarealty.com. Who knows, it may even be featured on an upcoming episode.